Hey guys, I have a little tip for you in the fish room. Any of us fish keepers know and have experienced that these, great thermometer, cheap, accurate, I love them. I don't get into that fancy dancy digital stuff. Just a regular old thermometer like this, they're accurate. And I have compared these with my temperature gun and they're right on point as far as what the Fahrenheit or Celsius, depending on where you are. Obviously this filter does both. They're not filter, thermometer does both. But I like these. They're cheap. You can get them anywhere. But the problem is these suction cups always fail and the thermometer ends up floating around the tank or you can't find it and you got to dig it out. It's frustrating. I come up with a simple DIY hack for this. Let's get right into it. So it don't look the best, but it works. For Christmas time, you're hanging your lights up around your house. If anybody has those Christmas lights that get those hooks, they hook onto your shingles like this. This part goes into the shingle. This hangs off and you run your lights through this hole all around the perimeter of your house. Well, if you take this and you take another one, turn it upside down, and why I say that is you can see here that it just puts it's not much. It really doesn't matter, but it does give you a little bit of a drop as opposed to this way. Take one of these, clip it on the back of your glass canopy, your lid on your aquarium, and then you take the second one and you put it through this way like this into the other one, and you'll notice it hangs down like that. So when this is on the glass, this is hanging down in the aquarium. Leave the suction cup on your thermometer, put it through that hole, and then once you get it on the glass and you position it where you want, and then of course you can turn it because everything's loose, it's all adjustable, but that keeps it where it's supposed to be. You're never going to have to hunt for it anymore. You don't have to buy new ones. These things last forever unless a fish breaks them, which a fish like an Oscar could potentially do that, and other ones. But I've never had a fish break these. And when you have multiple tanks, it's just a good, cheap way to monitor the temperature in your tank. But I'm going to show you, I've already installed them on all mine, and I'm going to show you how it looks. So like I said in the previous video, if you follow my channel, one thing I do every morning, every night before I go to bed is I go around all my tanks with a flashlight and I make sure all the filters are running and none of them have stopped. And I also would take my temperature gun and just shoot all the tanks and check what the temperature is at so I'd know if I had a failed heater or whatever the case may be. Well, although that's efficient and it works well, recently I did a little experiment, was able to take the heaters out of my tanks. I don't need them. I unplugged one or two of them and watched them for days, and the temperature stayed around 75 to 76 degrees. So just by the ambient temperature in the house. I never thought the ambient temperature would work because where my fish room is in my dining room, but it's a big open space and it's got an open space to the rest of the house. So I really didn't think the ambient temperature would hold these tanks good. But you also got to take into consideration, you got lights, you got filters running, all this stuff produces heat which helps warm your tank. But at nighttime when that stuff's off, there's no sun coming through the windows, the tanks get a little bit cooler. So I just wanted to make sure my tanks were getting so cold that wouldn't be good for certain fish species. But even at nighttime, it was holding around 75, 76 degrees, which is fine for most tropical fish. That is your general range for most tropical fish, anywhere from 72 up to 80 degrees, and they're going to be fine. Now when you start getting lower than that, now you're getting into your cold water fish. Obviously, the coldest I can keep my tanks is about 75, 76 degrees. It just doesn't get colder than that. Now this winter I'm going to experiment and see if the temperature stays that way even in the winter time. But we still have to get through summer, and that just started, so that's going to be a little while. But at any rate, back to my little DIY hack for these thermometers and the sucky suction cups they come with. I'll just go to the tank that's easiest to look at. So let's go. So as you can see here, like I showed you, there's one of the clips. They clip onto the glass really nice. And then the other one hangs down in the water with the thermometer. The camera's not adjusting real well here. But as you can see, it's hanging down in the water. It's always going to stay there. It's never going to float around the tank. I don't have to look for it. I don't have to worry about the suction cups. I don't have to worry about buying anymore. I don't care what anybody says. This is a good old-fashioned thermometer. They work. They're simple. They're cheap. It's all you need, and they last a lifetime as long as they don't get broken by a fish or you. Sorry about the camera's not doing real well here. But you get the idea. And I went around and did this to all my tanks. Now, I'm not going to say they might get moved around by the water movement or the fish, but for the most part, this tank here is a little different. This is an older 125 gallon. It's got that big glass brace that's siliconed in the middle, so I had glass top specifically made for this tank, so it's a little different. I just put it out here what would work. It's the same thing. Clips on and hangs the thermometer down in. It's always going to be there. It's not going to go anywhere. Over here on the 125 gallon Oscar tank, same thing. Clipped on the glass. Through the second one, hangs in the water. Always where I can see it and check it real quick. Some of them, like this one here, is a little different that I acquired. It's still staying to the glass, so I'll leave it be for now. If it stops losing, if it softens up and loses its suction power, I'll do the same thing. But all my tanks, since I've taken the heaters out, are all staying around 75, 76 degrees. Saving money, one less thing to worry about failing. Anytime you don't have to use heaters, I recommend getting rid of them. Maybe not getting rid of them, but keep them in storage in case something happens and you need to warm the water up. You can always just throw it in there and plug it in and you're good to go. But it gets it out of the tank. It's one less thing to see in your aquarium, making them look that much more aesthetically pleasing. See, no more heaters. I had two in this tank, one there, one over here. They're not there anymore, don't need them. It's just all around more efficient, more pleasing to the eye, one less thing to worry about, one less thing to put in the electric bill, one less thing to worry about if it fails or you cook your fish. But it's something you got to experiment with for yourself and see how it works, because everyone's aquarium and house is different. So that's it. Let me know in the comments below if you like it, what you think of it. If you have any suggestions for better ideas that maybe you guys come up with, please leave it in the comments below. And I like it because I like getting comments and learning new things. So cool. Until next video, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate everybody who's subscribed to me and supports me. And until next video.